Jyotirgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Welcome to the third session. Today we are going to discuss a very important moot philosophical point: determinism versus free will. Have you heard of it, determinism and free will? See, we feel our life is our choices, isn't it? We are free to make the choices we want, and we feel our choice is actually freely made by us. It is under our will. It's an act of our volition. So, free will belongs to me. This is my general feeling. You see, just now if I want to raise the volume of my voice, I can do it. I want to turn right, I can turn right, I can turn left. All our actions we feel are under our will, isn't it? The very definition of free will means it is the ability to choose any particular course of action unimpeded, unhindered. That is what we call free will. If I have it, if I am able to do it, then I say I have free will. And if there are certain conditions through which no, my will not work, or it is due to some other unconscious forces, my will is functioning due to that, then I cannot call it free will as such. So now today's topic of discussion is there really a free will, or are there just unconscious forces pushing us towards willing something, towards any particular decision? What is the fact about human life? Is there free will, or is everything predetermined, predestined? ये सब शब्द आपने सुने होंगे, सुने हैं ना, कि सब कुछ it's already predetermined, it's already prefixed. So what is the reality? This is what we are going to explore today. Free will is a very important concept because we believe, instinctively we feel our life is made of our choices, and at any given point of time you are free to act as you wish. You are free to make your own decisions. You are free to will in a particular direction, isn't it? Make a particular संकल्प, आप इसके लिए free है, यही तो हमारा अनुभव है, isn't it? So what is this particular debate? It's been going on for centuries, determinism and free will. One group of people hold that no, everything is predetermined, and some people hold no, everything is under my will, my life is my choice. So even in science this debate is there, in philosophy also there is a huge debate. We will be discussing this extensively. Kyun? Because it is so important for karma yoga. If my choices are not mine, then who is deciding my choice? Then how is my work mine? You understand? Your work is due to your will. Your will is your choice. But if somebody else is making that choice, how can you call it your work? Your moral obligation towards your action, moral responsibility is because you are making it, isn't it? So it is very important to explore this question. The power of your will, that is the entire human life. If you see human civilization, it is an expression of the power of the human will, isn't it? You see, nature gave us inhospitable climate in so many areas. What did man do out of his will? He created cities, he made homes with lighting, with cooling, with heating, so that he surmounted the obstacles of climate, surmounted the obstacles of nature. Nature made life difficult due to distances. So what did the human will do? It created roads, it created means of communication, it created public transport systems so that you can move about freely wherever you want. How many ways of communication? Today instantly you can communicate with anywhere in the world. So all this has happened due to what? Due to the human will. You willed that no, this is the kind of life I will have. This is possible, and you exercise your intellect, your will and your intellect, and you created this civilization. This is the story of mankind, isn't it? So we sort of instinctively feel we have the capacity to do whatever we want to do. Now this is what is being challenged in this particular debate between free will and determinism. You have to pay attention, otherwise you will miss the points. It's a very important thing for you to know. Remember this, culture always it rises above the purposes of nature. The very fact that man has been able to control external conditions shows he has risen above nature externally, isn't it, in physical effects. So also you can control your internal nature. You can't you? See, before your exam, how you fix your concentration on the things you want to do. Some other distracting thought comes, you can put it aside. You can control your internal nature, you can control your mind, your emotions, you can gear them up towards your goals. So both external and internal nature, you are able to surmount the obstacles and bring it under your control through your will. So this capacity, because you have, you instinctively, naturally feel a sense of free will with you all the time. Now this is being challenged in a particular experiment which was conducted few years back by a great, he was actually a pioneer in the study of consciousness studies. Consciousness studies आपने सुना है? His name is Benjamin Libet. Benjamin Libet actually conducted this experiment. He was a sort of neuroscientist, psychologist, and he started this debate due to his experiments. He passed away quite recently in 2007. So what is this experiment like? See, observe the experiment, it is something very interesting. I have a diagram of the experiment here. This Benjamin Libet's experiment on free will. He hooked up a human subject to a EEG machine. What does an EEG machine do? It maps, it gives brain scans of brain activity, especially the motor activity in your cortex, cortical region. That was tracked through this EEG machine, the motor cortex of your brain. And what was the actual experiment about? It was about decision, volition. The subject was given two switches, let us say a blue switch and a red switch, and he was asked to press one of these switches as per his decision. Now before he pressed one of the switches, say let us say the blue switch, he had to announce. When he felt this urge to act, he had to announce yes and press the blue switch. This was the experiment, and the EEG machine will be scanning his brain, his motor cortex, for whatever activity is going on there. So the subject started. When he was asked, he immediately decided on the blue switch, he announced and he pressed the blue switch. Now the scans which they found, that is the brain activity which went into making this decision, was something very impressive. You know, from his standpoint, from the phenomenological standpoint, phenomenology means from the how you feel about something. From his standpoint, it was a split second decision. It was something he immediately decided. But the scans showed brain activity almost 7 seconds prior to the decision. इसका मतलब क्या है? If your brain has been active on that decision, much before you took the conscious decision and pressed the switch, it means there are subconscious, unconscious pre-decisions leading you towards a decision in your conscious brain. And he repeated this experiment many times, and every time this is what was found, that there is definite activity in the brain, a number of factors involved due to which a number of pre-decisions take place due to a chain of causes, and finally you announce a decision and the urge to movement is there. It is called the readiness potential, which gives the urge towards movement. That is pressing the blue switch. Before that, so much of activity has taken place. So literally speaking, the subject is led to a decision. It is not a split second decision. It is not an immediate decision which he took. Which means what? Your decisions are not in your conscious mind. Subconscious, unconscious forces have urged you towards a particular decision, a particular movement. So now this has enormous implications for both science, philosophy, for our karma yoga. What are the implications, can you tell me? That means your actions are not under your conscious will, exactly. And it means, well, a corollary you can draw from this is, if my actions are not under my conscious will, are the effects of my actions due to me? it removes the moral responsibility from the person. You can very well say, well, the right and wrong of an action, I am not responsible for it because unconscious forces drove me towards it. It removes moral responsibility. So deep implications this has. Because we know we are responsible for our actions, the morality of the action is ours. Whether it's a right action or wrong action, you are responsible for it, isn't it? Whatever action you perform, at some point you have said yes or no, so it was performed. This is the general understanding. But this Libet's experiment, it turned the tables towards determinism. Determinism का मतलब ही है ये, it is predetermined, the effect of your action. The action itself, willing itself is sort of preordained. It is due to unconscious urges pushing you towards something. And so free will doesn't have much play. The will is not free. This was the conclusion. Now this sparked a huge debate. Philosophers like, see for example, I will tell you, Susan Blackmore, she said conscious experience takes some time to build and is too slow to be responsible for making things happen. So it is quite possible that unconscious forces are responsible for a man's willing and action. This is quite a possibility. When our thinking itself is compulsive, our willing can only be marginal. Try to think and see originally. So this is a possibility, and then many other philosophers commented on this, and Libet found one more thing. As I told you, he repeated this experiment many times. He found one more thing, that is the power of the free won't. It is better studied through Libet's experiment. This free, just like how we think of free will, कि मैं ये काम कर सकता हूँ, वैसे ही there's a free won't, it's called veto, which means I will not do this particular action. That can be better studied, because you see, whenever there is an action is to be performed, a conscious acquiescence, which means agreement, is required for the readiness potential to be built up for the urge towards the movement, urge towards the action. Readiness potential, did you understand from the diagram? Please look at the diagram there. देखिए, readiness potential का मतलब है when you are ready to perform the action, what is exactly happening, what has built up in your brain is the readiness potential. When it reaches its peak, look at the diagram, when it reaches point 10, then the movement onset is there. But before that, look at the amount of activity in the brain. Onset of RP is there, time of awareness of urge to move is there. So much of activity has preceded the movement onset. You understand? And you thought it was immediate. Your decision is your decision. It was immediate. तो यही problem हो रहा है. There is something which compels a person to make a decision, which urges a particular decision. तो इसका study क्या important नहीं है? आप ही सोचिए. It is very important, because after all you will be blamed for the decision, you will be blamed for the action, isn't it? Now what are these forces? This is what we will study. Libet especially pointed out, in the case of veto, which means a free won't, a conscious acquiescence, a conscious agreement, a solid no in the conscious mind is required for the readiness potential to build up to a point where you will perform or not perform the action. This has been caught very well through Libet's experiment. I will give you a simple example here for you to understand this better. See, for example, next week are your exams. This weekend your friend tells you, come, let's go for a movie. Now the unconscious response to this is, हाँ चलो चले, थोड़ा let us get entertained and come. But at this point your conscious mind will put a solid no. ये होता है ना? No, I have to do well in this exam, it's very important for me. So you see, this conscious no in your mind, this is the power of veto. This has been caught. When your mind stands and says no to this particular action, immediately what will happen? The RP, the readiness potential will stop, and the urge towards movement will not be there. It has come through what? Your conscious no. This has again been tracked in Libet's experiment. So you see, all acts are not necessarily instigated by your unconscious, especially acts that are of this type, where it is required to put a solid stand, a solid no. They cannot be instigated by the unconscious. This also was found. Since I will give you the actual scientific data, since the subjective experience of the conscious will to act preceded the action by only 200 milliseconds, this leaves your conscious mind only 100 to 150 milliseconds to veto an action. Which means if your conscious mind decides something, no matter how much readiness potential has been built up, you can reverse movement. You will not act accordingly. समझ में आ रहा है? Are you catching the point? Which means what? Is determinism true or free will true? Now you must start thinking originally. Is my action or something is leading me to that action? More data I will give you. So you have understood the position of determinism. What is it telling you? Determinism? It is telling you that no, your actions are due to urges which are predetermined. Unconscious forces have pushed you towards this particular action. Now, between this determinism and free will, your understanding that you are free to do your action, whatever action, you are free to your will is a free thing. Between these two is another position called compatibilism. These are all moot philosophical points which you should absorb. Compatibilism का मतलब है the two are not incompatible. Determinism and free will are not two, both are not incompatible, they are compatible with each other. How do they explain this? You see, your free will is due to your motives, they say. Your motives are not free. You are free to will whatever you want, but the motive behind that free will is not free. This is the position of compatibilism. In fact, Arthur Schopenhauer, he once said, it's a wonderful statement. He said, man can do what he wills. The problem is he cannot will what he wills. Did you get the point? You can do what you will, but you cannot will what you will. Your will takes something else to be built up into action, to come out as action. So this we will be further studying, which means what? A certain amount of predetermined push is there behind every choice, behind every what you feel, your will. Behind that it is there. In fact, Vivekananda once said, the very purpose of education is to train you to will rightly, which means you can will wrongly. You see, between determinism and free will, how many positions are there? What they are trying to tell you is, there is a chain of causes which leads you to a particular decision, but in that chain, there is one autonomous loop or link, holding which you can draw the whole chain into your hands. You can do it. That is why Vivekananda says, the purpose of education is to train you to will rightly. You see, willpower, it's not that you adamantly, obstinately build it up in some way. Training the will means actually freeing the will progressively from compulsions, from wrong ideas, negativities, complexes in your brain. Freeing it, as you go on freeing your will, it becomes free will. This is the way to train the will. And this is the method all these great ones have prescribed for us. Remember this, and this point was made by another great philosopher. He said, Kant actually said this, there is nothing more absolutely good than a good will, which means what? You can generate these states of mind with a certain amount of training. Training your will doesn't mean obstinate hona, adamant hona, it means freeing your will from compulsions, from negativities in your mind. How to do it, what is to be done, we will go deeply into this. See, philosophical approach is very important. Psychological approach also is very important, because psychology is what you can actually do about your free will. How do I free my will? If this is the purpose, how do I bring everything into the conscious plane? How do I make everything my choice? Then my karma will be my karma, isn't it? Not that I am being pushed by unconscious forces towards doing a particular thing. So this is what we will pay more and more attention to before we go into the psychology of free will, how to generate a genuine, absolutely free will. We will go into the thoughts of some great masters on this. Why are their thoughts important? You see, जिन्होंने mind को transcend किया है, they are able to give some of the best understanding of all these, your faculty of cognition, affection, volition, free will. They are able to throw immense light on that. Why they are not within the realm of the cogitative mind? They have been able to transcend that realm. है ना, जब आप when you take a completely objective perspective of something, then what happens? You are able to study it best. So this is what they have been able to do. They have been able to step out of the mind, not jumping off the mind, stepping out of the mind into the realm of pure awareness, due to which mind activity is understood very well by them. So we will go into some of the statements of these great masters and you will see what light they throw on free will and determinism. ये आपके लिए बहुत important है. Look, first I will give you Vivekananda on free will. He says, as long as you are in the network of time, space and causation, to say you are free is nonsense, because in that network all is under rigorous law, sequence and consequence. Every thought that you think is caused, every feeling has been caused. It is only when the infinite existence comes, as it were, into this network of Maya that it takes the form of will. Will is a portion of that being caught in the network of Maya, and therefore free will is a misnomer. It means nothing. So is all this talk about freedom. There is no freedom in Maya. See, so long we have been telling you that you are the creators of your own destiny, but this you must understand, your free will is limited just now. It can be made progressively free. Isn't it? Last two classes I had been telling you, your destiny is in your hands, provided you have worked on building your will, provided you have made it genuinely free, then your destiny is in your hands. This is the meaning. You see, the very next sentence Vivekananda is, which I put there is, only the free have free will, he says. With the rest, the will is bound. Immediately, you see, when the mind comes into the matrix of time, space and causation, what happens to that mind? It gets limited. Your will is nothing but a compound of the mind and the self. Mind and consciousness, it's a compound of the two. When the mind is limited, how the will can be free? The will also is limited. The will gets limited. The more you can extricate your mind from limitations, free your mind from limitations, the more free the will also will become. This is the meaning of what Vivekananda is telling you. That's why सिर्फ free will है कहने से नहीं होता. उस पर काम करना चाहिए थोड़ा. You must clear your mind, genuinely free your will, and then what will remain is free will only. That's why it's a possibility. Free will is a possibility, and that's why Vivekananda says the free have free will. Until you are free, you cannot say I have free will. So try to understand the position. When we go into the psychology of it, you will understand it even clearer. Then Vivekananda also says everything is predestination, and a part of that predestination is that you have such feelings as the feeling of freedom. As long as the mind is bound within time, space and causation, you can't call the will free. But last he asserts again, he tells you, but stand up, be bold, be strong, take the whole responsibility on your own shoulders and know that you are the creators of your destiny. All the strength and succor that you want are within you, which means what? This is a great message of hope that you can create a genuinely free will. You have in you the capacity to do it. Train your mind, clear your mind, and will become absolutely free. It's a possibility, it is not an impossibility. Determinism बोलने का मतलब ये नहीं है forever your will is bound. You can work towards a free will, and this is the glory of yoga psychology actually. What it is trying to tell you is this: your will can be made free. Your mind can be made crystal clear. The fact about who you are can be revealed to you. आप अगर थोड़ा सा योग अपने जीवन में लाओगे, you will see your choices indeed you will be making, not that some unconscious urge is making you do it. You understand? Which means what? So much of your life will be in your hands. A large part of your life will be in your hands if you have been able to train your mind. If you have not been able to train, you see, if mind itself is full of only compulsive habits, then the will cannot be free in that state. यही समझने की बात है यहाँ पर. Beyond this, let me show you one more slide. You see, here you have a beautiful illustration given by Sri Ramakrishna. He says, It is God alone who has planted in man's mind what the Englishman calls free will. People who have not realized God would become engaged in more and more sinful actions if God had not planted in them the notion of free will. Sin would have increased if God had not made the sinner feel that he alone was responsible for his sin. Then he gives this beautiful example. Look at it. Suppose a cow is tied by a rope to a pole. If it wants to satisfy its hunger, then it has to exert itself and move in the area covered by the radius of the rope and eat the grass in that area. This can be compared to man's free will. है ना? सुंदर आइडिया है. देखिए, if a cow is tied to a post, how much of freedom it will have? As long as the rope is, it is tied to the post, so it can munch only a bit of that grass. So your will also is like that. In a way, it is tied up, and you have been given only that much. As much as the length of the rope, that much of free will has been given to you. If you keep exercising it in the right direction, what will happen? The owner will come and tie with a longer rope at a better spot, so you can munch more grass. This is how will develops in a sense. A certain amount of tether has been given to you, a certain length of the rope, that much of free will you have, you can increase it. If you work on where you are, exercising your will in the right direction, you will get more, and the will get more and more free. That's the meaning. So it is possible to develop a free will. Look at the statement again. The cow's freedom of movement is limited to the circle of space determined by the length of the rope. Similarly, an ordinary man is bound by one's karma, which limits one's freedom of will, like the rope in the case of the cow. Sri Ramakrishna also added to this example that when a person turns to God in spiritual practice, then what happens? The length of the rope of karma increases. In other words, one's freedom increases in proportion to one's spiritual progress. This is the understanding which Sri Ramakrishna gives us, that will can be made free as you go on clearing your mind. In fact, all योग साधना ये सब इसी के लिए होती है. It is to clear your mind, to make your will more and more free. And Raman Maharshi also gives us a very important point here. He says, everything is predetermined, but a man is always free not to identify himself with the body and not to be affected by the pleasures or pains consequent on the body's activities. Those alone who have no knowledge of the source whence fate and free will arise will dispute which of them can conquer the other. The I thought is the Vijnanamaya Kosh, will is included in it. This is from Raman Maharshi, who had self-realization, who always sort of shone like the sun of illumination. So the great masters, Sri Ramakrishna, Raman Maharshi, Swami Vivekananda, all of them have said, just now in our position as ordinary people, the will is bound. And karmic causes will determine in which direction it will function. But you can make it progressively free by bringing more and more clarity of mind. They are saying it spiritual practice. आप अपना कर्म भी योग की तरह करके you can progressively make your will free, freer and freer. So the question is actually, how free is free will? That should be the question. So now we will go a little into yoga psychology to tell you, to show you, indeed your will can be made free. आप खुद ही कर सकते हो. It is a possibility in your life. The more your will arises from the conscious plane, the more free it is, isn't it? If it arises from the subconscious or unconscious, you are not aware of it. Look at your anger, for instance. जब गुस्सा हो जाते हो आप, what exactly happens? Something pushes you towards a particular action, maybe a particular bad word or a particular action, isn't it? And then you create more problems for yourselves. You may not want to do it at that moment of time. You don't want to say this bad word to your friend, but गुस्सा ऐसा आया है कि you just say it. ये होता है ना? Many times we know what should be done, but we can't do it. We know what should not be done, but we can't but do it. है ना? What is this called? This kind of behavior is called compulsive behavior. हमारे मन में ही हो रहा है. I'm compelled to do a particular thing. I'm compelled to speak a bad word. I don't want to do it, but the unconscious force is pushing me. महाभारत में इसका बहुत सुंदर illustration है in the character of Duryodhan. आपको याद है वो इंसिडेंट जब बिफोर द वॉर Bhishma Pitama is telling Duryodhan, see, this whole war is because of you. You have no dharma. You do not know what is right and wrong. And because of you, this war is taking place. You cannot stick to dharma. What have you learned? And then Duryodhan answers him. It's a very cold reply. He says, Janami dharmam, nacha me pravrittim. I know what is dharma. I am not inclined towards it. I don't like to do it. See, this is compulsive behavior. I know what is to be done. ये देखिए, in small or less measure, it happens in every young person's life. We know what is to be done, we can't do it. We know what should not be done, we can't but go towards it. He says, Janami dharmam nacha me pravrittim, janami adharmam nacha me nivrittim. I know what is adharma, but I can't desist from it. I am helpless. So without developing this will, you will become helpless. Your choices are not yours. So what is the solution to this problem? What is the solution? How to get out of our compulsions? For that, see, I have put it in the form of a diagram again, in the form of an image. Look at the words there. Usually the conscious mind is like the tip of an iceberg. So will is driven. हमारा जो मन होता है, mind होता है, there are two planes. One is the conscious plane, is just like the tip of an iceberg. Underneath is a huge unconscious. Subconscious, unconscious, let's say it's almost like one. Conscious plane is only bit. So your will is very limited. The much of your will is coming from the unconscious, which you are not at all conscious of, not aware of. So you don't know your decisions. Suddenly somebody asks you something, you just cogitate for a moment and give an answer, because the conscious plane itself is limited. Why has it become limited? Why is there no awareness, high level awareness in our mind? Because it has all got invested into negative thinking, wrong types of thoughts, fears, anxieties, in all sorts of negativities, anger, hatred, lust. All this has completely invested, your awareness has got invested into all of this. So conscious part of your mind is very little. Most of it is unconscious drives. Drive is a very important word in psychology. Drive is that which drives you towards a particular decision, towards a particular action. Because conscious plane is so limited in your mind, your will is primarily arising from the unconscious plane, which is dense with unwanted thought, unwanted emotion, anger, hatred, all these kleshas they are called, negative emotions. It is full of that. So mind is not at all clear. So awareness is minimal. Just a bit of a strip of your mind is what is called the conscious plane, where awareness is there, you are self-aware. So इसीलिए will is so weak. Now what is the solution given? You have to increase the awareness level of your mind. Yoga psychology will tell you this. Basically, any form of yoga, what does it aim at? देखिए आपका मन ना, it is very easy to understand if you follow this model. Mind is nothing but thoughts playing on awareness. There is awareness as the background material. Thoughts are playing on that. Now you have given all importance to those thoughts. Many of those thoughts are negative thoughts. They are negative emotions, and you are so interested in them, awareness is lost somewhere. Awareness itself has become another thought. You can reverse this situation. You can bring awareness to the forefront and drive away thoughts or replace those thoughts with better ones. योग का मतलब यही है. You so change the content of your mind that awareness comes into full bloom. Thought level also becomes secondary. Such a mind, a yogi's mind, not that a yogi is a great thinker. A yogi is especially a person whose mind is filled with awareness. Awareness means aliveness, aliveness means happiness. It is fully self-aware, and there he brings in the thoughts he wants to think. Positive, good thoughts, thoughts which are beneficial to others. So ये state ला सकते हैं हम हमारे मन में. If the awareness content of your mind is increased, then by controlling your thoughts, by leading a disciplined life, then what will happen? Your will, your mind, all your faculties actually will work the way you want them to work. So then your choices, your decisions will be yours. ये आप कर सकते हो. You see, just now the conscious mind is just a tip of the iceberg. You see the iceberg which is protruding outside the sea, but you can make it like this. You can make awareness dominate over the thought process. This is what yoga is about. It is the art of actually culturing awareness. Look at the picture. Yoga helps you culture awareness, it makes you more and more conscious, and will develops accordingly. Thus you get charge over yourself and your decisions. Training will is actually about freeing will. Freeing will from compulsions, from all the cogitations, all the negative energies zooming in your mind. It is freeing the will from all of that. So you see, your will is directly proportional to your awareness. इसीलिए योग एक ऐसी चीज है, not that you have to do it because somebody asked me to do it, not that the books say या मम्मी पापा कह रहे हैं. No, it is essential for your development as you are, to make you better and better. In any given life situation, bring in a little yoga. योग का मतलब है this ability to allow awareness to dominate your mind. You will see every thought you think, every emotion you think, it will bring you fresh life. Otherwise, what will happen is, it is just thinking which is already compulsive, already full of complexes, full of negativities. You yourself will get fed up with that kind of mind after some time. When people say, I want peace of mind, or my mind is just, you see, thoughts are just happening. I am not thinking. ये सब चीज़ें क्यों होती है? Because awareness is minimal in the mind. You have not worked on the mind. बाहर की चीज़ें हमें सब पता है. We know we are actually making science and technology out of it. But this system I never understood. How my own mind works. And that is why the sorrow in our lives. No matter what your achievement. You know, some of the greatest millionaires of this world, millionaires and billionaires of this world, have committed suicide. And in their 30s and 40s. Why? I can't bear with my mind. So, don't reduce yourself to this kind of a state. You should know your happiness depends upon your mind. It is a state of your mind, it is a state of pure awareness which is available to you. If you put the right things into your mind, the mind will function beautifully. You know what decides the content of your mind? What decides? Have you any idea? What makes our thoughts, our emotions? What you see through your senses, your exposures. है ना? देखिए आज आपने अपने मोबाइल पे कुछ देखा. You saw a YouTube video. Over the whole week, the same thoughts kept coming to your mind again and again. So, what decides the content of your mind? Your senses, your eyes, your ears, what they are taking in. आप जब खाना खाते हो, you pay so much attention to the nutritional content of your food. Do you pay attention to the nutritional content of your thought? Of what you are taking in through the eyes, the ears, all the senses? No, you don't pay. So, if you pay a little attention, you see mind control starts from there. If you pay a little attention, you will bring in only good content. That content can be processed very well in the mind. It will help you achieve clarity, more and more clarity. And one fine day you will see with a little meditation, a little yoga practice, awareness, self-awareness starts dominating over the thought process. Which means what? You are more alive, more happy, more joyful always. And thought process is very clear. You can concentrate at will. You can apply your mind to whatever you want at will. It's not that thought is happening, I can't control it, I am fed up, only anxiety, only fear. ये सब चीज़ें चली जाएंगी आपके जीवन से. Little bit of yoga training, that is all. And your will be free. Whatever you want, you can achieve. This is what this gets you. So work on your mind a bit. This is not a matter of choice. If you don't do it, you will suffer for it. Human life has been given to us in order to achieve the highest, in order to achieve human excellence. So don't waste it on wrong thought patterns, all kinds of things which are useless, which are not in no way contributing to your progress. Don't spend energy and time on that. Invest in what will really develop you, and आप देखोगे once this clarity is achieved, your will is genuinely free. It is your own will. So your choices are yours, your decisions are yours, your intent is very clear, your actions will be beautiful, great. This is the actual secret of success in life. Otherwise, you are not creating destiny, you are only creating fate. Some unconscious force pushed you and took you somewhere, and you can go and lament there. So bring a little bit of this into your life, you will see a lot you will be able to achieve. So the bottom line is this, your will is proportional to your awareness. इस पर थोड़ा काम करना है. Now once you have understood this, let us go into, you know, that is why in our culture the greatest emphasis has been given on what? Sanskar. है ना? Yes? You have a question? Yes?
You said that will is directly proportional to awareness.
Yes.
And to increase the awareness, we need to know what dharma is and
Yes.
follow. But when we are doing that, aren't we restricting our free will to what dharma is?
See, the idea is this. Yes. You see, what he is trying to say is, how do I know a right action from a wrong action?
Let's say I know the right action.
So then you will not say it is restricting my will. If you know a right action to be right, it actually expands your will.
No, but now at the end, I'm doing only right actions.
Yes.
My free will is restricted to right actions.
Yes, that's what I am
What
saying.
dharma
You
is,
see, when you apply your will to a right action, you can no more say that my will got restricted. If your will is towards a right action, you will feel a kind of expansion.
It's towards dharma, right?
Yes, if it is towards
dharma
dharma,
is dharma.
yes, it is freeing the will. You will feel a sense of expansion. देखिए आप जब अच्छा काम करते हो, you feel a sense of lightness and goodness within you, a sense of expansion. जब खराब काम करते हो, अगर एक झूठ बोल दिया, you feel a contraction. You don't feel nice. है ना? ये क्यों होता है? The nature of goodness is to expand, to give you more joy right from within. So you cannot say, I am restricting my will to a particular dharma, to a particular good action. It's not so. When your commitment to goodness, rightness itself expands your will. It will generate free will for you.
Is committed still to the
Yes, we will go into the theory of ethics. At one point in this course, we are going to go into the right and wrong of an action. There further you will get light on this. Now, let me go a little into some ideas which are important to you regarding free will. You see, you can only proceed from your present experience. Okay, I don't want to give you ideas which you can't use. In your present experience, what can you do about your free will? Just now we discussed that it is possible to free the free will, to attain the state where your choices are originally yours, genuinely yours. For you to be able to do this, let me give you some insights from Bhagavad Gita, from Vedanta, from Yoga Sutras, which will help you attain this state. You know what is Vedanta? Our last course which we conducted here was on Yoga Vedanta. Vedanta is actually the sar, the very essence of the Vedas. It is called Upanishads. What does it speak about? It speaks about you, your real nature. It's fully about you. How does it describe the human being? Just body, mind? What do you feel yourself to be? Tell me. Just body, mind? Nothing more? Then what is conscious experience about? If you are just body and thought, there is something called consciousness, isn't it? Awareness एक चीज है. Even when I am not thinking, a sense of awareness is there. In my mind, you see, thoughts are enlivened due to my awareness, which means what? There is awareness also in me. There is body plus mind plus awareness. Pure awareness is called consciousness. So according to Vedanta, you are consciousness embodied. Consciousness functioning through a body and mind. देखिए वेदांत अंडरस्टैंड करना बहुत easy, it's the simplest thing possible. Only thing is you must have absolute clarity of mind. Then you will see it is the simplest thing possible. जैसे Vedanta will give you so many clues to your real nature. One thing which I will tell you, see how you can take it. Your eye sense and your body consciousness, they are two totally different things. Does this make sense to you? Usually we think I am the body, isn't it? Your sense of yourself, you feel it's, well, I am this, because my photograph says I am this. But your sense of I-ness is completely different from the body. If some problem occurs in the body, you are not able to know. An external instrument has to tell you, an ultrasound or CT scan has to tell you what is the problem where. You never feel your age. Unless you remember your age, you cannot feel your age. All these, so many such clues are there which will show you, you are rarely conscious of the body. Unless you are made conscious of it, you are not even conscious of it. But you are always self-aware. Awareness is your primary nature. Identification is occasional. Identification is not mandatory. ये simple चीज अगर आप पकड़ पाओ, Vedanta will step into your life. It's the most obvious truth of your life. You have not paid attention. What a problem this is, that in our educational system, this element is not there, studying the subject. Studying you, it is studying you as you truly are, not as you have identified yourself with body, mind, thought, emotion, whatever. As you truly are, you are bare awareness, functioning through a body-mind complex. Vedanta आपको यही कहता है. Related to our study here, what Vedanta has to say on free will. See, let me tell you this basic fact. Indian philosophy does not study free will as Western philosophy does. In fact, free will is a predominantly Western concept. But there are related ideas. जैसे क्रतु बोलते हैं वेदों में. In the Vedas, there is this word called kratu. It indicates ata kratumaya purusho. A man is verily what his will is. It indicates the will. Then there is dhriti in the Bhagavad Gita. That also indicates a superior will. So related concepts are there. Mainly Indian philosophies have focused upon the cognitive aspect, methods of knowledge. How do we know? This is what they have focused upon. But related concepts you will always find. So let us try to find in the Upanishads, what is it that they are trying to tell us? You see, when Chandogya Upanishad is telling you, Atha Kratumaya Purusho, you are verily what your will is, the meaning is quite obvious, isn't it? What you will, that you are. If your will is good, you are a good person. There is nothing absolutely good but a good will. And if your will, your action may be something very nice, but if your will is not good, your intent is not good, can you be called a good person? No. So you are verily what your will is. है ना, बहुत लोग अच्छे अच्छे मीठी बातें बोल सकते हैं या अच्छे कर्म भी कर सकते हैं, but if the intent is not good, if the will is not good, हम उनको अच्छे नहीं बोलते हैं, है ना? So what is it, the defining factor of you being good or bad? It is your will. देखिए कितना important idea दे रहे हैं. अथ क्रतुमय पुरुषो. So if you keep your will, your intent absolutely clear, good, committed, alive and elevated, you can be sure of having a really good life. Simple equation it is. If your will is good in any action, in any organization, tomorrow in your workplace, in your workspace, in your relationships, in your family, will जो है, intent जो है, वो पवित्र होना चाहिए, clear होना चाहिए, अच्छा होना चाहिए. Then your action will be good, your emotion will be good, everything will work well for you. If your intention में अगर गोलमाल हो, you know, mixed intentions will give mixed results. Bad intentions will give bad results. Pure intentions will give pure results. Good intentions will give you excellent results. Secret of success, Vedanta is teaching you. So, decide your will. Always keep it committed towards good purposes, towards elevating purposes, towards high goals in life. This is what they are telling you. And since now you know your will actually depends on your awareness, one of the purposes, goals of your life, abhi se theek kar lo, will be to develop my awareness, to develop my inner world, whatever you understand by that just now. थोड़ा सा योग हम जीवन में लाएंगे to elevate my own life, to free my own will. Okay? Then, you see, Vivekananda used to define this to be the very purpose of religion. He did not say religion yahi hai. He used to say each soul is potentially divine. The goal is to manifest that divinity by controlling nature, external and internal. External nature easy to control. Internal nature with practice you can control. If you do that, what will happen? The inner divinity will come out. Awareness will come into full blossom. This is the way to free will, to free your will. Then genuinely your choices are yours. There is no question about it. So you see, there is a way to develop a free will. Don't think ab bol diya determinism is the fact about your life. That doesn't mean, well, there is no other choice then. You must move towards free will. That is the purpose of human life. You get the point? Then, in the Bhagavad Gita, they have extensive discussions on this dhriti concept. Last class में मैंने आपको एक important idea दिया था last में. What was it? You are your own friend or you are your own enemy. Isn't it? When do you become your friend? फ्रेंड्स और एनिमीज सिर्फ बाहर होते हैं क्या? मन में भी होते हैं ना? When do you become your friend? बंधुरात्मात्मनस्तस्य येनात्मैवात्मना जितः अनात्मनस्तु शत्रुत्वे वर्तेतात्मैव शत्रुवत्. इसका मतलब है, if you don't train any of your faculties, you will never be your friend. Mind is untrained, will is totally untrained, and emotion and thought going on by themselves. Senses are totally untrained, going into anything, doing anything. You will become your own enemy. One fine day you will not be able to face your mind. This is when people go and commit suicide. I can't bear with my mind. और क्या करना है जीवन में? So you see, if you have not worked on this system, you will not get much in life. No matter you may get a 6-figure salary, it won't mean anything to you. You may have a 40-room house. That's just a structure. अंदर से आता है आनंद. So if this system has not been developed a bit, you will not be able to get this. इसीलिए कहते हैं you can manufacture your own friend within you or your own enemy. If you bring the lower self under control by developing the higher self, you are your friend. And if you allow the lower self to dominate, you become your own enemy. This is one idea. Then it will tell you about 3 types of will, the Bhagavad Gita. Satviki dhriti, Rajasic dhriti and Tamasic dhriti. You know, Satviki dhriti only we will discuss. It is that will through which you are able to bring your system under control. क्योंकि मैं कह रही हूँ ना आपको, if this system is well developed, you can handle the objective world very well. No matter what it throws at you, what comes into your life, you can handle it very positively. But if this system itself is erratic, functioning in a way you can't control, then you don't know, even if something good comes to you, in the spur of the moment, in the spur of your emotion, you will throw it out of your life. ये होता है ना? Analyze your own life situations when you are in anger, when you are over anxious about something. Anything good coming into your, maybe your mother brought you a cool drink. नहीं चाहिए, आप फेंक भी दे सकते हो क्योंकि आप में गुस्सा है. So see this, if your own system is not under control, it's not in your hands, no matter what comes from the external world, it's not going to matter to you. इसीलिए पहले थोड़ा इस पर संयम लाना चाहिए, है ना? तो यही कहती है, ये सात्विकी वृत्ति किसको कहते हैं? धृत्या यया धारयते मन प्राणेन्द्रिय क्रियाः योगेन अव्यभिचारिण्या धृति सा पार्थ सात्विकी. योग के द्वारा जो अपना मन, the senses, इंद्रिय and मन प्राण शक्ति, इन तीनों चीजों को जो कंट्रोल में ला सकता है योग के बल से, उसमें सात्विक धृति आती है. See, this is the speciality of Indian mind sciences. They are focused on the subject. Focus on training yourself first. Then you get all knowledge of the object. Nobody is against objective knowledge. That must be there because you are here to excel in this world. But if you ignore this system, which is going to excel, which is going to gain the highest in life, then you will not be able to get your goals. You will not be able to get fulfillment in life. इसलिए इसको मत ignore कीजिए. अपने आप पर थोड़ा काम करना है. This is the common message of the Indian scriptures. One more thing which the Gita points out towards is, हमेशा आपने ये सुना होगा कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्ते मा फलेषु कदाचन. बोलते हैं ना, क्या कह रहे हैं? देखिए आप कर्म करते ही हो in order to get a result. नहीं तो कोई कर्म करता है क्या? The fact that you are working, it is for a particular effect. It is for a particular object in view. That is why you are working. But they are telling you, ma phaleshu kadachana. Don't think so much about the effects. Why are they telling this? What are they asking you to detach from? And what is to be detached from what? They are asking, detachment is always of the will. Detaching the will from the ego. This is all they are asking you to do. If you can detach your will from, the ego is always a construct, it is not the original you. If you only keep working for something you are trying to build up, something which is on very flimsy ground, then you will be disappointed in life. You must build in order to excel in such a way that it reveals the real you, the real self. इसीलिए they are asking you to detach your will from the fruit of the action that only caters to your ego. ये पकड़ पा रहे हो? आप एग्जामिनेशन देने के लिए जा रहे हो, समझो. If your intention for giving the exam is only that you will get a very high profile job and earn a lot of money, that is not enough for you, for your happiness. This is what they are telling you. आपका intention इतना छोटा नहीं होना चाहिए. You must understand some basic facts about happiness. Happiness is not just in acquiring, it is in giving. Happiness comes from within yourself. It's a state of your mind. So, you can generate happiness without anything also. Then what is the purpose of action? So as to bring all of this for others also. That is the purpose of action. Changing subject through objective means. That is the purpose of karma. So, widen your outlook. You see people who are only working for the ego become very selfish. आपको पता है, some people who do not want to work at all, practice karma yoga at all, they become so selfish, they are not able to stay peacefully anywhere within themselves. But those who are constantly working for others, seeing that the effect of that work brings good to others, they will peacefully remain peaceful even in the midst of a lot of commotion, even in the midst of a lot of activity. आपने भगवद गीता में कृष्ण की छवि देखी है ना, जब वो when he is taking Arjun into the battlefield, तो कृष्ण के मुख पर कैसी हंसी है. The very figure shows he is in deep calm, a very calm disposition. He is established in the perfect truth and smiling, and he is in the midst of a battlefield, urging Arjun to fight and controlling the horses with his hands. वो छवि आपने देखी होगी. Look at the look on his face, complete calmness. Relaxation का मतलब यही है. Relaxation is not sleeping. It means your nerves, your mind is in such a calm state that enormous activity comes out of you, but you remain absolutely calm. This is only possible if the will is detached from the fruit of action. That's why he says, कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्ते मा फलेषु कदाचन. थोड़ा बहुत ये philosophy digest करनी है. You understand? It is very applicable to our young people, क्योंकि अर्जुन भी तो, he was a young man, isn't it? Who had a lot of potential, a lot of capacity. He was a little confused about his goals, that's all. So उन्हीं के लिए गीता होती है. It is the actual practical manual for you to develop your will and free it. Free will जो हम discuss कर रहे हैं, it will help you achieve a free will. the philosophy of the Gita. Then one more thing which I would like to point out to you is, see, it is the mixture of the gunas that is responsible for our actions. Whatever type of action you perform, a physical action, a mental action, anything that goes under the name of action, what is it due to? Okay, in some people the excellence will be at the level of intelligence. Many of you are like that. The buddhi is very bright. In some people the excellence will be at the level of physical work. In some people the excellence will be at the level of thought plane. In some people the excellence will be at the level of caring, sharing, love. So ultimately you should know there are different types of activities which you can generate depending upon the combination, guna combination in us. Satvik gun ek hai, rajasic gun ek hai or tamasic gun ek hai. In what combination they function, that decides where you will excel. You understand? So that is why in the Bhagavad Gita mein bhi ye hai, prakrite guna sammudha sajjante guna karmasu, which means the unwise identify with the gunas of Prakriti and so claim to be the doers. All gunas belong to the realm of Prakriti. Prakriti kya hai? We had discussed in the first class. Yes, the cosmic energy which functions in you as vital energy. So this has various aspects. Now, if you identify only with this, only with matter, only with the gunas, you will become naturally the doer of action. But you are not actually the doer of the action. You are always the witness, through you action is done. So aisa koi this kind of a philosophy, you must make it part of your thinking. Then you can work with detachment. So you give the credit to something else. Either you give credit to God, to Prakriti, to the people who inspired you to that work. But if you give the credit to the ego, then you will not be able to do karma yoga effectively. Karma yogi ka lakshan kya hai pata hai? He will keep on doing work without attributing anything to himself. Because he knows he is not the ego. When your awareness comes into full fruition, you will naturally have a different sense of yourself. So you will not identify with the ego. This is a possibility in Karma Yoga. Yes.
Actually, I am understanding what you are trying to say, but I have a question here. That you said that we need to increase our awareness or in order to expand our free will.
Yes.
But how exactly or what should we be doing to increase our awareness? Or
Very good. You see, this is actually a yogic question, what he is asking. How do we increase our awareness? Now, if I go into that, we will be missing out a lot of today's portion because it is focused on free will. But let me tell you briefly here, see, the structure of the mind, I told you, it is thoughts over awareness. Thoughts, abhi hamara position kya hai? We think we are only thoughts. There is body consciousness and there are thoughts in our mind. We don't know anything else. Why this has happened is, the awareness content is entirely hidden by our interest in the mental activity in our minds. We are only identified with thoughts, emotions, only that we feel. You see, you feel anxious, you feel happy, you feel joyful, sometimes you feel lazy, you feel greedy. All this is going on. What actually yoga does for you, if you practice a little bit of meditation, what it will do for you is, it so increases the clarity of your mind. You don't easily identify with thought. Then what are you identified with? You are just aware of your thoughts. So, ye jo awareness hai, which is uninvested in the thought process, which is able to see it objectively, this is to be cultivated through yoga. इसी को self awareness कहते हैं. It is the reflection of the pure self in your mind, caught by your mind. अगर mind सात्विक बना दो तो it will reflect very well. If it is dense with tamas, it will not reflect that awareness. तब आप पूछोगे awareness कहाँ है? It's another thought only. You understand? You must change the content of your mind to develop all this. And for that, life discipline, lifestyle discipline is required. देखिए ये आप लोग कर नहीं सकते, ऐसा मत बोलिए मुझे. If when I say lifestyle discipline, what do I mean? Focused activity, focusing upon what you want to do, avoiding unnecessary distractions, having a little bit of yoga in your life, a routine kind of life, ये आपके लिए थोड़ा मुश्किल है, मुझे पता है, but still as much as possible, definite hours of sleep, definite hours of concentration, avoiding unnecessary distractions in your life, focusing on the good things in your life, reading elevating literature, exposing yourself to the good in life, a little bit of stillness practiced every day. You do all these disciplines, I will tell you in 1 month's time, you will become comfortable in your mind. You have made peace with your mind. ये जो unnecessary problems आप लोग face करते हो, जिसके लिए वो काउंसलर के पास जाते हो, this will go out of your life. Don't create problems for yourself. Train your mind in such a way. First is lifestyle regulation. Definite hours of eating the right stuff. Every day during break going to the McDonald's or going to for fast food. Don't do all this. What you take in, I told you, through your senses is deciding the contents of your mind. Your exposures. If you see elevating stuff every day, the mind will get elevated. एक level पे रहोगे आप. This is the training which our young people require. If you do this, in about 1 month's time, you will get the capacity to meditate, which means what? Bring stillness into your mind, see your thoughts objectively, not with identification. If you do this, you will understand what I mean by awareness. That can be increased in your mind, cultured, augmented. If you do this, you will see you don't need anything to keep you happy. That is your very nature. ये किया जा सकता है, इसमें training होता है. You understand? In a very small way I am telling you this. In fact, Patanjali Yoga Sutras में you will find the entire scheme how this is to be done. थोड़े बहुत disciplines है वहाँ पर, उनको follow करके you can get into a discipline of yoga. You will see how much of fulfillment it brings into your life, even in the student life. Try it and see, and you will understand the benefits. आजकल सभी कर रहे हैं, because if you don't do it, you know, there's no other choice. You can't bear your mind after some time if you don't do it. So everybody is getting into it. Now, this was regarding what Gita has to say about work and free will. Now, let us go to Patanjali. Patanjali makes a very important point which I want you to know. Yoga Sutras. आपने योग सूत्र भी सुने हैं ना? Patanjali Yoga Sutra. It is the oldest manual on yoga. On how to attain this, ये जो हम कह रहे हैं, awareness, all this that we are speaking of, how to actually experience that. The technology is yoga. You understand? The science is Vedanta, the technology is yoga. So how do you actually get into this yoga? Patanjali makes a very important point as regards our discussion on free will. He says, you know, the third effect of any karma. What is the third effect? आपने 2 sessions अभी तक attend किए हैं. What's the third effect? Cosmic effect. You remember, first is the external effect, second is the internal effect, third is the cosmic effect. Cosmic effect of karma comes back to you as Newton's third law of motion. I told you, for every action there is equal and opposite reaction. It will bring into your life what you have thrown at others. Now this, Patanjali says, this karma phal, karmashay कहते हैं. Karmashay is nothing but potential karma phal. It comes to you as an element in your buddhi. It comes and resides in your buddhi, as it were, and that buddhi decides your actions. So आपकी ये जो decision making ability है, it directs that decision making ability. It is the karmic residue of your own actions. The third effect of your work, the cosmic effect, comes and resides in your, this is there in the commentary on Patanjali Yoga Sutras. The third effect of work is, work throws out a cosmic effect called karmashay, which will come and settle in your buddhi, so that at any given point of time when a decision is to be made, your karmic resultant is directing what decision should be made. That's why your will is not free. अगर karma अच्छा हो, your decision will always be right. You get the point? Now if you ask me scientifically, is there proof for all this? You see, for this transpersonal dimension of karmashay, they have not found a neurophysiological correlate. But all of science cannot explain all of life, isn't it? Because you see, now if you say characteristics of a person, heredity alone cannot explain that. Karma theory explains all characteristics, isn't it? So, there can be, science is still growing. Discoveries have to be taken from every realm of knowledge for you to understand things perfectly, to understand it holistically. So, here karma theory can make a huge contribution for you. It is your own generated work, the effect of your own work which ultimately comes and guides your decisions. आप देखिए जैसे दुर्योधन का केस मैंने आपको बताया, और लेट्स टेक अ पॉजिटिव केस, लेट्स टेक अर्जुन्स केस. When Krishna told him the right action, right path to take, he did take it. He did not resist like Duryodhan. क्यों? उनके कर्म अच्छे थे. Last class I told you the story of two boys, same circumstances, same situation. Each one built a different life. According to your karma you build. So you see, your life is in your hands. The ultimate conclusion of this debate between determinism and free will is not that determinism versus free will. That's not the equation. You are guided by a causal chain of events, no doubt, but there is one loop in that causal chain, one autonomous loop you can say, which is in your hands. If you use it rightly, you can bring the whole chain into your hands. So, we can say will can be made absolutely free. Free will is a possibility. You so train your system that the will starts functioning for you. Your decisions are for you. Your decisions are not made by unconscious forces which you are not in charge of. Then your life is in your hands, isn't it? You genuinely become a creator of your destiny. Let me tell you, you see, a little struggle is required to do all this. मैंने कहा ना, the basic fact is your mental faculties have to be brought under your control. This requires struggle. Anything worth having in life, you have to put effort. Nothing is cheap. Nothing good is cheap, please remember. What is really bad is very cheap. ये समझ में आ रहा है आपको? Get all this clear right now. What is easy, what is cheap is not good for you. It will come to you just like that, and you will waste time and energy on it, and it will ruin you. But what is truly valuable in life, you have to give energy, you have to give time, you have to build yourself towards it. In Vivekananda's life, there is this beautiful incident, you know. Once he was traveling in the Himalayas, long trek in the Himalayas. There, if you get today's situation, let me tell you, if you get a car, a four-wheeler, very good, you will have a fine trip. If you fail to get it, you have to walk long distances. आप पहाड़ों में गए हो? Have you been there? I go every year to the Himalayas, so I understand this concept. Today, public transport system is quite well developed, but if you get a jeep or a four-wheeler, easily you can make a very fine trip to wherever you want to go. Otherwise, you have to walk long distances. And today, even if you get a four-wheeler, what happens is, it's a vehicle for 8 people, they will take 15 people. And once actually I was going and the driver was sitting here and the steering wheel was here, and mountain roads, and he's steering and going like this. So all this they do, and youngsters, very young, they are just out of their teenage years maybe. Such young people are doing all this, drivers. But anyway, in Vivekananda's time, which is more than 100 years back, about 120 years back, he was traveling, he was trekking in the Himalayas, and that time no such public transport systems, they had to walk long distances. He came to a particular slope, walking, he came to this slope, and he saw there an old man who was completely exhausted because now he had to walk further and go. Long distances they have to walk. And he was so exhausted, and he told Swamiji that I can't move further anymore, and so much more I have to walk and go. Then Vivekananda pointed out to the road and told him, look brother, look at this road under your feet. This very road you have crossed and come till here. Today, now it's under your feet. So also this road which is ahead of you will soon be under your feet. Don't get disheartened, come with me. And then the old man stood up and started walking. The point is this, you have to struggle a bit to create a really valuable life. If you are easygoing, or given to only, I told you, cheap stuff, you will miss the essential joy of life. With courage, with fortitude, with dhriti, you must learn to proceed. Then all this that we have discussed becomes a perfect possibility. When Vivekananda was in Varanasi, once he came across in a temple, there's a Durga Mandir there. So there he was actually moving about around the temple when he was attacked by a group of monkeys. In Kashi they are very huge monkeys, even in Vrindavan you will find them. So he was attacked by them and then he started running. Then another old monk there, he suddenly turned to him and shouted, "Face the brutes, don't run away, face the brutes." And Vivekananda turned, and he had such a strong personality. As soon as he turned, immediately the monkeys fled. They just faced him and then they turned back and fled. So you see, this is the message they are giving you, face the brutes. Where are the brutes? Out there? Yahi pe hai. One day you will encounter them and know that yes, everything, my friends, my enemies, my colleagues, the people I respect, the people I don't respect, they are all within me. According to the sanskars we have created, our life is going to move, our will is going to function, our decisions will be made, our future will be made. So decide right now whether you will be creator of your destiny or somebody will create it for you. Whether you will function with free will, that autonomous link you will exercise, or somebody else will come and create your life for you. This you have to decide. ये आपका science आपको नहीं बोलेगा, but this psychology will tell you how to build your life. You understand? This is the conclusion of this debate between determinism and free will, that you can generate a completely free will and take your entire life into your hands. Let's stop here, time is up.